Hello and welcome to Around the Region. I'm your host, Whitney Stinson. On the program tonight, a behind-the-scenes look at the musical ride. This centuries-old tradition has become a symbol of Canada, and we're going to meet the men and women on the horses. But first, a second-time high-profile guest is back on the show again. Dwain Lingenfelter takes the hot seat right now on Around the Region. Here in studio with me now is Dwain Lingenfelter. He's the NDP leader for the Saskatchewan NDP leader. Thank you so much for coming in today. Almost gotcha. So you are starting off your leaders tour, and tell me what you hope to accomplish in a leaders tour.
Well, we're about 4 months away from the election call on October 10th, so it's getting close, and I'm sure what all the parties are doing now is gearing up in a pre-election period where you get out and talk to people, find out what the issues are, so as you develop your final details of your platform, you try to get it right, what people are talking about, what families need, and it's a very important part of campaigning.
Now you're just starting it now, but I guess what do you think the feeling is like in Saskatchewan?
Well, it's interesting how much it's changed in the last year, and while there is a lot of money in the province, and the government has a lot of money, and the rich CEOs and CEOs in health areas have a lot of money, what seems to be appearing is that working people, whether it's in the health area or teachers or people on minimum wage, are being told, look, you have to expect less, and you shouldn't expect any more than 1.5%. And there's a feeling around that the people who do the heavy lifting, the working people in this province, aren't getting their fair share, and the wealthy are becoming fabulously wealthy, and there's a feeling of unfairness that I think you see being displayed in many, many work stoppages in the province now.
So you say you're 4 months away. I guess you're just sort of trying to round up some candidates throughout the province, I guess. When do you announce NDP candidates in ridings?
Well, we've been doing that on an ongoing basis. I think we have 58 ridings in the province. I think we have now candidates or people who have signed the documents to run as candidates in 56 ridings. So we have 2 left to go. And that's well ahead of what the NDP has done in the last few elections. So I'm pretty comfortable on the candidate side. What's left to do is the final policies, and we've announced rent control, we've announced the review of the potash royalty because we just don't think we're getting enough for the people of the province, and we've also talked about affordable housing in a big way.
Now, I do want to pick up on some of those points, but first I want to talk about how you work with these local candidates that you've selected, so these 57 that you have sort of rounded up. How closely do you personally work with them, and how do you get them ready to deliver your message?
Well, they're my team, and if you think about it, I like to use football analogies, but I'm the captain of the team, and they're the players, and they're serious players. And what I find interesting is none of them are name candidates or just names on a ballot, which happens sometimes, and you have sort of write-off constituencies. Every one of the candidates that we've selected are running to win, and that's the first time in a long time that I've seen a credible group of candidates in every riding in the province, and it bodes very well to be competitive in the next election. Not saying we're going to win, because we still have a lot of work to do to prove to people and not take people's vote for granted. We have to earn it, but I think we're well on our way to being very competitive on November 7th.
Let's talk about some of those policies now that you've already announced. Let's start by talking about potash. I mean, the government's been boasting about potash. What are you saying about it, and how do you think you guys can make it better?
Well, what analysts are telling us, whether it's Jack Mintz at the University in Calgary or Charlebois at the University of Guelph in Ontario, is the Saskatchewan people aren't getting nearly enough in royalty for their potash. If you think about it, out of every dollar of profit from potash, the companies and shareholders out of the province take 95 cents, and you and I and our families get a nickel. And that's an embarrassment. It's way too little. If Alberta were only getting a nickel in royalty on their oil, I think the Premier in Alberta should and would be fired immediately. It's not enough. It's embarrassingly low. And I understand why Bill Doyle got a 159% increase in his salary last year, the head of the Potash Corporation. He negotiated a deal with the Wall government where they're taking 95 cents of every dollar of profit and leaving you and I and our families a nickel, and that's not right.
Talk to me about affordable housing a little bit, or rent control, I guess you're implementing this election, correct?
Well, we have 2 parts to our plan. One is that we need to build a lot of affordable housing in the province. That takes a coordinated effort of the province, federal government, local government, along with the private sector. We just don't have enough affordable housing. Lots of houses for sale for $300,000 and $400,000, but if you're a young person and have to save 10%, you can't catch up, because in the meantime you're paying rent increases of 10, 15, in some cases 50% per year. You can never save the money you need for a down payment. So we need a major housing construction program and a rent cap or rent control in the meantime to allow people a breathing space to save up to buy their first home.
We're going to talk more about your policies just on the other side of this break, including his thoughts on the recent federal election.